Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry for that delay. Um, I wanted to come on this morning and kind of just talk to you about what's been going on with me. I know a lot of you have shown great compassion and lots of comments, lots of shout outs and things to me, and I really appreciate them. So I wanted to kind of go on here. I don't usually do this, but last night at 4 a.m., when I couldn't sleep, something just told me that I should come on here and kind of give everybody an update on what's going on. Um, for those of you who know me pretty well, I've kind of lived a life where I keep some of my crazy health things to myself, but some of them I'm pretty open with, as far as like my Hashimoto's that you guys know I have, and some of the other things I'm dealing with. But kind of to take you back to when I was a little girl, I always got the most random things that happened to me. When I was 8 years old, I had something that they named bleeding tonsils. Now, 8 years old, my tonsils were bleeding down my throat. It was the scariest thing ever. I had a huge infection, ice pops. My mom really had to take care of me for a long time, and it just went away. Never had to have my tonsils removed, nothing. It was just very, very random. So, 10 years old, I started getting UTIs at 10 years old. Crazy, like all the time, UTIs. And I had tests done and catheterizations and things like that. And come to find out, I have something that's called bilateral reflux disease, where one of my ureters doesn't really work. So to fix that, they said, oh, we could do this huge operation to this 10-year-old girl, take your ureters out, replace them, but we never know if it's going to actually fix what was wrong. So at 10 years old, my mother's like, no, we're just going to have to give her antibiotics. And I grew up pretty much. I have UTIs very, very frequently, live with them, but at this point, it's better than having to have a huge surgery. Fast forward to high school. You know, just a regular girl playing basketball, just living my life. And one time, actually, in the middle of a game, I went up for a layup and literally fell to the floor in agonizing pain. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. They called my mother. She took me straight to the doctors. Tests. 3 days later, I'm in the actual hospital, and they diagnosed me with something called osteomyelitis in my coccyx bone, the bottom of my spine. Infection, again. So we have infection with my tonsils bleeding, infection with my UTIs, infection in my coccyx bone. I was literally out of school for 6 months on intravenous IV. And it pretty much, knocked me down pretty good. It was crazy. We then moved to a new house, and the house had 2 stories. I never lived on a 2-story house in my whole entire life, always in a rancher till this point. And I used to sleepwalk. So apparently one night I decided to sleepwalk. I was on the second floor. My bedroom had 2 doors. It was a very old house. One door went straight out to the hallway, and the other door went down the steps. Apparently, I opened the door to go down the steps, not knowing there were steps, fell down the steps, hit my head, and had a concussion. Don't remember any of that. Zero, nothing at all. It was apparently really bad. I almost died. There was a lot of scared times there. I pulled through. Good to go. Other thing, I broke an ankle one time. It never healed correctly. Got an infection in my ankle. Another infection. Fast forward till I'm 18. Here I'm finally diagnosed with thyroid disease. My parents thought I was on drugs. They didn't know what the heck was going on with me. Just always something. I was so tired. I have thyroid disease. Move away, get married, have 2 kids. Had to have my gallbladder removed because thyroid disease, infection. Here we go again. Just one thing after another. And I say all that to kind of bring you to where I am today. Battling with Hashimoto's, as you guys know, has been really rough for me, as it is for everybody that has Hashimoto's. I feel for all of you, because once your thyroid stops working or it starts doing crazy things, it's so unpredictable. And I think that's why I had such a hard time these past couple of weeks, because a lot of the symptoms I have been having and I am having may have been Hashimoto related, or I'm 45. They may have been because of thyroid, because I'm going through change of life. So many things mimicked to what I know now. So I go back about a month ago. Well, actually, I'll go back about a year ago. I had some major things happen to me in my life. I was let go at a job. My best friend passed away. I was struggling financially. Just a lot of stuff hit me. And I had a massive panic attack. So bad that I was driving to my mother's house and almost crashed. Like half my body went numb. It was the scariest thing ever. Luckily, I was going to my mother's. And when I got out of my car, my mother had pulled up. She got out of the car, ran up. She knew something was wrong, and she hugged me and she held me and she prayed with me. For those of you who know my mother, she's very spiritual, very spiritual. So it was just put me at the place at the right time to be with her when all this was happening. So I love, appreciate, thank her every day for being there, because I was scared. Luckily, my mother has had this when she was in her 40s, so she knew exactly what anxiety was, what a panic attack was. So she was there to coach me through everything that was happening. I had disassociation. I couldn't tell who I was for a few days. It was just crazy. So I worked through that last year. It was very hard, 3 or 4 months of nonstop, my heart's doing this. I can't concentrate. I'm having trouble with this. Luckily, I got through it. I was put on very small medication to help me kind of get through that. And then it came out the beginning of this year, and things were going really well. January, February, March, we moved. Everything was really, really good. And I thought, hey, made it through this anxiety issue. I'm on the other end. Awesome. Now, in March with COVID, a lot of stressors came. People weren't leaving. I wasn't leaving the house. I was afraid with Hashimoto's I was going to get sick. I was very reclusive at that time. And that's when Kenya had passed away. So a lot of stress on me, a lot of stress from my job, a lot of stress emotionally, personally, just a lot of stress. And then I started having these weird things. I was having numbness down my right arm. I was having numbness in my face, kind of in my mouth a little bit, on and off. Still kind of said, oh, it's anxiety, dealing with anxiety. As you see, I'm doing my yoga now. I'm doing my meditation. I'm being spiritual, making the bracelets for everybody, trying to, get my mind off of what's happening to me physically. But I have to say the last 3 weeks have been really tough. I started once again with the facial paralysis. I started to have jaw pain. I lost insurance for about a month and a half, so I didn't really have a doctor to go to, and a lot of stress there. But once again, I said, oh, must be Hashimoto's, must be change of life. I'm having hot sweats at night. I kept thinking it is something I'm already dealing with. A couple of the other things I'm having are tinnitus. I've had it for a year, like crazy. No idea why, it's just there. So I started to get more paralysis, a lot of joint pain in my neck, and then these really weird headaches. Like they were like ice pick headaches. They would just hit me all of a sudden. I was actually on a Teams meeting with one of my colleagues a couple of weeks ago, and I had to get off. Like it hit me so hard that I had to walk away. And I still didn't know what was wrong with me. Like I couldn't figure it out. Then about maybe like a week and a half ago, I started really having pain all over my body. I posted to you guys on Facebook. Some of you said, nothing's wrong, you're good, whatever. And then I noticed the rash. And it was about this big. I'm highly allergic to mosquitoes and to any kind of bugs that bite me. So usually I'm like, okay, it's just a bug bite. No big deal. I'll deal with it as I always have. It started to grow a little bit. I posted on Facebook. Some of you said, hey, go to the doctors. This is crazy. Some of you said to my face, hey, doesn't look like a tick bite. You're good. Don't worry about it. Nothing's wrong. I still had a lot of body aches and pains, but I didn't think anything of it. Started getting heart palpitations about 2 weeks ago, went to the doctors. They stopped. They said, oh, you had a little bit of what was it they called? I think it's like a PVC, a little jump here and there on my things. So nothing, kind of went by there. But then all of a sudden, the other night, I just felt really, really bad. And I wound up going to a local doctor right around the corner, which, sorry, Marilyn, but your healthcare sucks. I literally walked into this doctor. She didn't touch me at all. She looked at it, gave me antibiotics and said, go home and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Like, not anything. She said, oh, this is textbook case. Well, textbook case what? Like, she never said, textbook case you got bit by a tick, or textbook case Lyme, or what other millions of little diseases that I could have picked up from actually being bit. So I took my antibiotics and I went home. I started my antibiotics. The first pill I took was doxycycline. Any of you have ever had to take doxycycline before? It is a strong antibiotic. It kicked my butt. Literally knocked me on the couch. I got a fever. I got chills. I had pains in my head. My heart was pounding. I started researching myself because nobody told me anything about this medication. And it said, you know, it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I said, okay, I understand. I have this organism or whatever it is in my body, and because of it, this antibiotic is attacking it, it's dying in my body, and it's going to make me feel really bad. I get it. The problem was 2 days ago at 10:30, I became tachycardic. My heart was at 120 beats per minute for 2 hours. And the reason I know this is, thank goodness for the Samsung app, the health monitor on my phone, I'm able to actually put my finger on the back and it's able to tell me how my heart is pumping. So I started getting chest pains, tachycardic, freaked me out. Kevin took me to the ER. 2 hours later, they have me in the back. The doctor looks at my rash again and says, oh, you have cellulitis. Okay, I have cellulitis. Do I have Lyme disease? Do I have whatever it is that's causing this? I know this is cellulitis. It's an infection in my leg. What is causing this? Is it Lyme? Is it, there's so many different things I'm reading and researching. They never told me what it was. But I was able to get the doxycycline now via IV, so straight into me to start making me feel better. I stayed there for about 3 or 4 hours, came home, went to sleep, woke up in the morning feeling a tad bit better, but not really as good as I should have felt. My head was still pounding. I felt really, really bad. And so I had to work yesterday. I really powered through that. Wasn't hungry, haven't eaten, nothing like that. Took another dosage of my medication, laid down on the couch again. Horrible headache. I literally took an ice pack out of the freezer and put it on my head because it hurt so bad. Luckily, in about 3 hours, that kind of alleviated. I took a sleeping pill to help me with just melatonin to go to sleep last night, and I went to sleep. Strangest thing at 4 a.m. in the morning. So I wake up, my legs, both of them are numb, completely numb. And something woke me up, I don't know what it was, woke me up, said, Angel, get up. So I woke up, heart's racing, legs are numb. I open my eyes, and now I have double vision. Never in my whole entire life have I ever had double vision. So that freaked me out. And it was, I guess now that I'm reading, it's like biocular double vision, that I see double vision with 2 eyes instead of just one. So, Steph, thank you. I will definitely look for rheumatologist, can't even pronounce it, and all those infectious diseases. I mean, I'm having to do my own work myself, obviously, because the doctors here have not been as helpful. So the double vision at 4 a.m. scared me. I kind of laid there, did a lot of breathing, and got up, went to the bathroom, came back to bed, and said, you know, this is just part of it. All the research with Lyme disease says double vision, achy joints, what else did I have? Jaw pain, like not on one side, but both sides, paralysis in my face. Like all these things are now that I've been dealing with for week after week are adding up to Lyme. And the funny thing, and I don't know if you guys have done this, I've watched shows about women mainly dealing with debilitating diseases and they don't know what they are. And 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, it's Lyme disease. Well, why didn't anybody test that for them? I know it's harder, but it's just sad that nobody wants to actually say Lyme. It's like a dirty word. As is thyroid disease 20 years ago. If you told people you had thyroid disease or Hashimoto's, they'd look at you like you were absolutely crazy. But today, it's a reality. Hashimoto's is a thing. Thyroid disease is a thing. It affects so many people, females mainly. And now Lyme disease that has been quiet, but affects so many people, nobody wants to talk about. So I think at 4 a.m., that was put on my heart to go live today and just kind of discuss it and talk about it and become a proponent for it. Even though no one has actually come out and said, Angel, you have Lyme disease, I'm telling them that I have Lyme disease because I have to. It's ridiculous. Like, why do we have to be so much? You know, it's so sad. But I wanted to kind of take it full circle now. I appreciate you guys watching. I've never done this before, so it's pretty awesome. I am still seeing double at times. It comes and goes. It seems as if I close my eyes for a few minutes in meditation or whatever. When I open them back up, that's when I see the double. But I'm feeling better. I know it's way at the beginning of this because that little germ that's in my body is hard for the antibiotics to treat because apparently it hides everywhere. It's been hiding who knows how long in my body. It could have been hiding for a month or two, and that's why I've been having these pains and random things happening, memory loss, forgetting to do things, just normal life things that are causing all these problems. With that has become the emotional toll that it's taken on me. I have been negative, more so than normal. I have been mean. I have been very quick to like jump the gun and say things and treat people ways that I shouldn't. And it's not me. It's just what's going on in my body. So those people who know what's going on with me have been so supportive and appreciative during all this time. So to my coworkers who have been supportive, to Kevin, to my mom, to my kids, you know, I really appreciate you guys checking in on me, seeing how I'm doing, and, you know, making sure things are good. So thank you again for that. I'm going to keep you guys updated on how this goes. Today at 4 p.m. will be day 3 of my actual antibiotic treatment. I have follow-up with the primary care I'm trying to make next week, but people are so busy and so packed that it's hard to get in. I'm hoping that I don't have any more issues with my heart or with anything else, and that the antibiotics are now working, and that's why I feel a little bit better today. But I definitely wanted to kind of let everybody know what's going on. Appreciate all the well wishes and everything, and I will definitely keep you guys up to date. So thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna, you know, take the day off today and Monday because it's a holiday. Hopefully this 4-day weekend will give me some time to rest, and I will be periodically, you know, either messaging on Facebook or coming back on here if need be to give you guys an update. So thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.